Welcome to West U2, brought to you by Holt Productions. Today we're having another episode of Local Leaders, and we are blessed to have one of the leaders of West U who I know and have known for 7 years. And I got to tell you, this guy exhibits the type of leadership upon which a show like this has been produced. David Holt is a managing partner at HBW Resources and also the president of Consumer Energy Alliance, which has almost 500,000 people signed up to create dialogue with energy executives. So this is a guy that deals with individuals, energy executives, and he goes to D.C. almost every week, it seems like. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cooper. It's good to be here, and a lot of pressure on my shoulders from this West YouTube. So hopefully we'll add dozens upon dozens of new followers.
Yes. Well, David is not new to media, so we're very blessed to have him on. David, tell us about some of your media experience, because I know it's way more than we've ever had.
You know, it's as part of Consumer Energy Alliance, which really is a trade association that represents the entire economy focused on energy and what energy means to the nation and how we have a sensible energy policy, from offshore oil and gas to hydraulic fracturing to sensible pipeline production and permitting to solar, wind, alternative energy, energy efficiency, all the rest. So we do a lot of events around the country, do a lot of media around the country talking about how we can pass at the state level, at the local level, and in Washington, sensible energy policy. And, you know, today we're getting together. The president just signed earlier today a new executive order to open up more offshore areas. So a lot of media today, as a matter of fact, and all this matters to us here in West U, because ultimately all this means lower electricity prices, lower fuel prices, more energy security, more national security, and makes us a better country and a better neighborhood.
Now, you grew up in Beaumont.
So oil is in my blood. Yes.
The Golden Triangle.
Yes.
Part of the Golden Triangle. What are the other pieces of the Golden Triangle?
Yeah. Well, I think everyone knows this answer, but it's Port Arthur and Orange. So it represents a perfect triangle: Beaumont, Port Arthur, and Orange.
I don't know that everybody did.
I think everyone should know that. Wasn't that taught in Texas history in 7th grade?
So, oil, gas, that's the focus of your work.
Yes. It's really kind of all the above. So from HBW's perspective, my background, Cooper, I spent 16 years in Washington, D.C., went up with the first Bush administration, worked for the Department of State in communications for the secretary, and then after law school, ended up at the Texas Railroad Commission. So kind of my career was, captured by oil and gas. So after my stint at the Texas Railroad Commission, I went back to D.C., and did oil and gas kind of lawyer lobby work for a long time. Started my own company in 05, 06, helped CEA get off the ground in 06, and for the last, 11, 12 years now, kind of been doing this advocacy work from a basic consumer, family, household perspective, and what does energy and energy policy mean for families all around the country. So it's pretty rewarding work. But spend a lot of time back and forth to D.C. and as much time away from you and our neighborhood as I possibly can.
So, an attorney by trade.
Yes, sir.
The great Oliver Wendell Holmes once said that the history of law is not based on logic, it's based on experience. Other than being on our show today, which our whole team at Holt Productions appreciates, by the way.
You got a good team.
What would you consider your greatest experience over your 30-year career, which is impressive, by the way?
That's a good question. Working with state governors, we helped form several years ago the Outer Continental Shelf Governors Coalition, which is the governors of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Maine, and Alaska now. So that's been a real rewarding experience working with those elected officials at the state level, because they get a lot of things done, get a lot of stuff done.
So you've gotten to meet some of the governors.
Oh, absolutely. We kind of work with them fairly regularly, and some great folks. Look at Phil Bryant, for example, in Mississippi, a great leader for national energy policy. He's been a really good advocate for offshore energy, onshore energy in Mississippi. Mississippi's not really known as a big energy production state, but he, over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, has really become a big advocate for energy and what it means for the state of Mississippi, for example, and what it means for the nation.
I've always admired the fact that you go to D.C. as much and you worked there for so much, and I never have. And a lot of people in this community don't know much about what goes on in D.C. except for what we've currently been going through up there with everything regarding this, election and so forth. And I've always sort of thought you were kind of the eyes and ears up there for us down here in West U. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on up there?
First, don't rely on me as being eyes and ears, but it is a fascinating time in American politics. I think for all the obvious reasons that the Trump presidency is an interesting presidency, to say the least. But, D.C. has become, like much of the rest of the country, increasingly polarized. Maybe D.C. is more polarized, frankly, than the rest of the country. So it's getting harder and harder to do business, to find common ground in Washington. Republicans and Democrats simply aren't able to communicate. Often they're not even speaking the same language. So you add to that kind of this populist, nationalist president who is known for his Twitter rants occasionally. You throw that into the mix, it's somewhat combustible. So from an energy policy perspective, which I think a lot of us can say, if you're really looking at something that should be nonpartisan, that matters to everyone, that you cannot make the furniture we're sitting on, for example, without oil and natural gas. It's not only transportation and electricity, it's everyday products like the buttons on our shirts and the soles of our shoes, and aspirin is made with natural gas, for example. So if there's something that we should all say, hey, let's get past the rhetoric and find a way to find common ground and find a pathway toward a nonpartisan issue that says, yes, we need oil and gas, that says, yes, we need energy efficiency, that says, yes, wind and solar are going to be part of the energy future. That would seem to be something that we can find common ground, but surprisingly, it's not. It's more polarized, like all other issues across the board.
What are wind turbine blades made out of?
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
Which is natural gas. You cannot make wind turbines without oil and natural gas.
That's interesting.
Yep. So it goes into it. Cement. A lot of cement goes into wind turbines. Natural gas goes into cement. So I would say, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's more than 50% of all the materials that go into wind turbines come from petroleum or natural gas.
Let me switch gears for a second.
Yep.
Tell me about your family and your experience here in West U, this great community.
Well, first, unbelievable neighbors. I live very close to Holt Productions Nerve Center. So go a long way back. Obviously, you and I have known each other for, I think, 7 years, yeah. So I'm married to my wife, my wonderful wife, Maureen. We have 3 kids, a 14-year-old who's about to start high school pretty soon, a 12-year-old who's in 6th grade, 2 boys, and an 8-year-old girl who's basically running the show at this point. So.
And a dog.
And a new dog.
A new dog.
A new dog, yeah.
What's her name?
The dog's name is Coco. And Coco is a Havanese, which is a Cuban breed. And she and Alice, my daughter, they're running the show together, I guess.
Now, you just recently went to Cuba about a year ago, did you
Yeah,
not?
almost right at a year ago, I did.
How was that?
Fascinating. It is 50 years of deferred maintenance and beautiful kind of Spanish Cuban architecture juxtaposed against kind of Soviet era cinder block architecture, so a lot of kind of Sputnik type buildings, but wonderful people, wonderful food, wonderful kind of a vibrant community, and at the time real welcoming, excited about the fact that at the time President Obama had just removed all the restrictions about travel back and forth to Cuba. So we were among the first Americans that had gotten in, and and were able to visit and have a wonderful time.
Were they glad to see you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Probably more so my wife Maureen than me. I was kind of along for the ride, but it was a great trip.
Sure. Now, I know what you do. I mean, there's so much you're doing with the Consumer Energy Alliance and HBW Resources and flying, and you got the family. That wears on someone. I did notice you were out power washing the other day, and I saw you in the morning, and then I actually saw you later in the afternoon still power washing. Other than power washing, what else do you do to sort of, blow off steam?
First of all, the pleasure of power washing I recommend for everyone. It's kind of therapeutic. So literally, you're right. There was probably 3 or 4 days. There were 8-hour power washing days. I've kind of have a personal goal, Cooper, and this is going to be a scoop for West YouTube. My goal is to power wash all of West U, and we'll see if we can do it. I want West U to be seen from space because, as you can see from my driveway, and I don't know if we can tell your viewers where I live. There's hundreds of them, but they'll look it up. Find the cleanest driveway in West U, and that's where I live.
That's David Holt.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show today. We really appreciate it. And what I'd like to say is that this show has been brought to you by Emerson Sloan. Now, if you have not already had a party this year, it's time to have a party. It's 2414 Rice Boulevard, Emerson Sloan. It's modern goods for modern occasions. Create memories. Go have a party.
So what's your name?
Alice Adele Holt.
So Alice, what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm still a kid, so basically nothing.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What is your favorite sport?
Probably, I think, I haven't decided. So many good sports.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I really want to be a vet.
What is the college you were going to go to?
Well, I'm still in 2nd grade, so I haven't decided yet.
And what is your favorite game to play outside?
Probably tag, because that's the most, running sport.
Okay. What is your favorite saying?
Saying? I don't really have a saying yet.
Okay. What is your favorite emoji?
Emoji, probably the cool emoji, because cool emoji.
What's your favorite food?
Salmon.
Okay. And the last one, what is your favorite board game?
Board game. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you for being on my West YouTube.
Well, you're welcome.
What is your name?
Sloan.
And what is your favorite emoji?
Poo-poo.
Okay. Good show.